Welcome back to OPA Podcast, episode 88. Today we are bringing you a recap of the comeback win versus UCLA from last weekend. But the entire crew is here today, so say hi, Soup,
Hello.
Griffin,
Hello.
and Wyatt,
Oh,
along with your host, Jason O. So let's get into it, guys. So the Gophers won against UCLA last weekend, 21-17 at the Rose Bowl. Bringing us to a 4-3 record, 2-2 record in Big Ten play. Let's get into our stars of the game, or Necton. I will start off with mine, so I'm going to give it to Daniel Jackson. He only had, pulling it up here, 10 receptions for 89 yards, but he made some really great and amazing catches for us that day in the second half. That kept the chains moving, which was awesome. So I'm giving it to him, and I haven't given his due in a while, so that's my Necton for this week.
I do think it's funny that the announcers during the game said that he had like the best game of his career, and I was just like, no, no.
All right, Soup, who's yours?
I don't know. I kind of want to pick. I liked picking Quinn Carroll against USC, somebody I'd been hard on. So let's continue that trend, and I'm going to go with the offensive coordinator, Greg Harbaugh. I think the second half adjustments and the way they shifted the way they were playing the game in the second half was crucial to the way they won. And I think for the past couple games, they've been really, really good at making adjustments at halftime. They've kind of been good at it all year. But this game, it really, I think, was obvious. You know, you go into the half down 10-0, and you end up, winning this game 21-17. So you score 21 points in the second half, and they score 7 points in the second half. And I think that was just kind of really, really impressive adjustments from them, and execution down the stretch in the second half, and the play calling I actually really liked. So, Greg Harbaugh, you did it.
All right, Wyatt?
in the vein of picking people who we've been a little bit hard on this season, Cody Lindenberg. Welcome back, buddy. Nice little interception. Good little 6-tackle game. We don't mind that.
I mean, he was also a big factor in our run defense this game too, because I believe
Significant contributor on that front.
yeah, go Cody Lindenberg. All right, Griffin, you're last. Who's your Necton or star of the game?
Well, considering I've only watched like the 5-minute highlight clip, and I'm basically just going off a box score at this point, I really like, I don't know, like, other than I only saw Coy's interception at the end, but I know he had 2 in the game. But don't know how well those were timed in terms of like, was it a big play? But just basing it off stats, another 2 interception game, pretty clutch. So I'm
You
just
can
gonna
say
pick
Coy
him.
Parrott. That's fine. Everyone knew Coy Parrott was going to get named in this segment.
Right, and I just think too, but like you have Lemecki that was on the last drive. Was it the last drive that converted the third down?
Yep.
I like to also just give shout outs to some of those players where it's like, because this happened, like you converted, you showed up in prime time, but that'll have to wait for another week.
Yeah, I think Coy's a good one. That pick he had, the first one, that was real nice. He jumps the ball. It's on the wrong shoulder, and he just breaks on it.
And then
Makes a really nice play.
And then I think in the review process too, because like the way how he caught the ball too, it didn't move after he hit the ground too. So like officiating wise, that was the right call, and that was his first pick, and then that second pick sealed the game at the end there because they were throwing a Hail Mary. So Coy Parrish with back-to-back clutch
Coy
interceptions.
Parrott's really just showing us why we need to love him.
That's Gophers freshman all-time leader in interceptions.
Yes, foot
Coy
four,
Parrish to
foot
you.
4 this season. Yeah.
Don't stop there. Keep going, young man.
I have a feeling he will.
Oh, definitely.
National
also just, like,
Defensive Back
briefly-
of the Week, Coy Parrish, I believe.
Just like every award. every
Yep.
weekly award possible this week, I think.
Which is so funny because he didn't win it last week for arguably a better, more impactful game, I would say.
Yeah.
But
Because I
this
think,
week,
yeah, the week before he got Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week.
yeah,
I mean, they're also looking at the box score when they do that.
yeah. I
And
mean, the
last
second pick
week,
he had was
yeah.
like, I mean, any one of the four of us could have caught that football. So.
But yeah, let's dive into the game. I know we usually talk offense, defense, and special teams, but I think this game, to go in depth further, has to be talked about. I think also first and second half.
Oh God.
And I know it's gonna be painful for some of us, but that first half was atrocious. The Gophers were down 10-0 against UCLA. Again, to recap, so drive summary. We get a 3-and-out on our first possession of the game.
Drop a touchdown.
Yep. Then UCLA scores a touchdown on the next drive. Another 3-and-out for us. UCLA throws the pick, or we got the pick, Cody Lindenberg, and then two 3-and-outs for Gophers, UCLA. We had the field goal where we're kind of moving down the field a little bit, but then Dragon misses the was it a 33-yarder, 35-yarder field goal, just wide right. And then before going into halftime, UCLA gets that field goal to end the half. And I know PJ was honest in his press conference, like it was the worst first half he's coached. And, obviously the kind of coach he is, he did take responsibility that it was his job to get his guys ready and be there, to play. And I think we can all agree that our team, besides some of the stuff on defense, it was very flat on the offensive side of the ball. Like the O-line was getting pushed around on the line of scrimmage, giving Max no protection. Run gaps were getting filled so quick as well. Like UCLA came to play because they want to end that 4-game wins loss streak that they're on. Like they're still a feisty team, and I hope they win a couple games this season that's left for them. Like kudos to UCLA. They brought the fight on this game, but yeah, our offense was very flat.
Yeah, so first half offense. Just back to cannot get out of your own way. Back to just missed assignments all over the offensive line, just not able to really block anybody in the run game. And mainly what was happening is UCLA had decided anybody but Darius Taylor is going to beat us, which foreshadowing did not work. But it worked for the first half, and I was kind of frustrated. I know I gave Greg Harbaugh my Neckton of the Week for how they adjusted and came out the second half. But the initial game plan in the first half just really bothered me because it felt like we were back to the running the ball for the sake of it thing. Just to give you guys some of these advanced stats here. Stuffed runs, so yards gained less than or equal to 0, or stopped runs, yards gained less than or equal to 2. 26% of the Gophers' runs on Saturday went for 0 or less yards. 26%, 5 of them. 10 of them were 2 yards or less. And I feel like if we looked at the splits on those for first half, second half, they were just not good in the first half. And then you only have 1.5 line yards per carry, which is just not good enough. It was back to feeling like we couldn't block anybody in the run game, and they kind of had no answer for it. And it felt like we were just like, well, we're still going to do it because maybe we'll break one, which has like not been the story all year. It's been better running mid-outside zone but they went back to running inside zone because UCLA was just like, oh, is Darius Taylor in the backfield? If he is, our linebacker is just blitzing, like every time. If he's back there, we're running at him. And they were just having all sorts of protection issues because of it.
And I think the other mistake that I didn't mention earlier, though, too, was just drop passes. Like that first drive where we went 3 and out in less than a minute, it was frustrating. I didn't watch that segment live, but in the replays, I think the Fox Sports YouTube channel has the extended highlights with the 15-minute version. I'm not sure if like the rando that posts like the 20+ minute version is out yet.
They love that play. So that play where they have that drop by the tight end in the first drive, they love that play. They've run that in their opening script, I want to say 2 or 3 times this year. That same exact play with that little seam shot to the tight end, and they've dropped it twice.
Yeah,
and it's infuriating because it's there.
Yeah,
and they connect on it later too.
They
run it again later and connect on it too, and it's just like,
and it's frustrating too because I know, like, we have a very competent quarterback, right? In Max Burrows right now, and my uncle and
you can say the G word. He's good.
Yeah, he's good. And I remember talking to my uncle because like he's been a Gopher fan longer than we have. He was around during the Tony Dungy days. That kind of quarterback play. It's just that it's frustrating because you see Max place a very good ball that only our receivers or tight ends can make. And then I think in the case of Jamison Gears on that play on the first drive, he has a paw on it, but then like it bounces off his hands, incomplete, right onto the turf.
He's already turning his head to score because there's nobody within 10 yards of him, and he's going to walk into the end zone. Just all he has to do is catch the ball.
Yeah,
just already turned around, turning your head around. Just I don't know. And UCLA in the first half, they also just kind of decided, they were like, okay, the 2 things you're not going to do is beat us with Darius Taylor, and you're also not going to beat us deep for a big play, for a shot. And they just had a safety or 2 back 10, 15 yards off the ball, 15 plus most of the time for most of the game. And I think they were trying to make Minnesota drive the full field. Right? No big plays, no explosives. You got to go 12, 13 plays to get down to the end zone because they know that Minnesota's been prone to mistakes all season. And I think that was a very smart game plan by UCLA to try and just take away their best player, take away any shot plays, and make them matriculate the ball down the field because we don't think they can. The defensive line is very hurt. This team in general is pretty hurt, and they on defense for the most part, you've got nagging injuries in the secondary, and you've got, your defensive line is beat up. Maverick Baranowski's not playing. I think they miss him a lot. The run fits from linebackers not named Cody Lindenberg are not good. And they get killed by that. And also, I think it was a disappointing first half for the defensive backs because they let UCLA throw the ball all over them.
Yeah, I think defensively they allowed like almost 300 pass yards this game. I think 293, which is the highest we've allowed this season so far.
Oh, yeah. Credit to their quarterback. He played the best game of any quarterback that they've seen so far. And I think it was, even
in the face of pressure, too, like the throws that dude made while getting hit by Jaw Joyner or Jalen Logan Redding or Anthony Smith, like that dude slinged it good, and his receivers made the plays.
I also think that that's just something to get used to with this new Corey Heatherman defense. Joe Rossi before was very much Tampa 2, bend but don't break type defense, Corey Heatherman is, I would characterize his defense more as we're going to break you before you break us. Right? I think that's kind of his approach is
The Brian Flores.
yeah, kind of a little not to the extreme that
Right.
is, but I think philosophy-wise very similar of, it's a high-pressure defense. You're going to live and die on the ability that you think that you can create more negative plays for them than they can create positive plays attacking the holes in your defense, right? So you're kind of trading the overall consistency of a Joe Rossi style defense for maybe a little bit more explosiveness on defense, but that also comes with a little bit more risk of giving up more big plays. And your philosophy then is just, we think we're going to break you before you break us.
And I think it's refreshing though too, which has been great to see. But yeah, I don't know what else to add about that poor first.
I mean,
half.
they did a good. I think they were prepared for the blitz looks that the Gophers presented, and I think that's a credit to UCLA's offensive coordinator who put up this game plan. Eric Bieniemy, a couple Super Bowl rings. I mean, I think it was a great game plan by them to open the game. They knew exactly how Minnesota wanted to attack them, both on offense and on defense, and especially on offense with their quarterback. They had a plan for the blitz every time, and they executed it. And they knew a lot of the time, I think that they knew that Minnesota likes to bring pressure with the defensive backs. And instead of, hey, we're going to throw into the blitz on a short pass because maybe it's a linebacker coming and we're going to throw in the slant behind him or something like that. We know that you guys like to blitz with defensive backs. So what we're going to do is try and exploit your man coverage down the field. And they did.
I don't know how many, or I don't know like what adjustments, if you guys noticed any that like happened before halftime, but I would love for them to make more in-game adjustments. It's great that you can go into halftime and have have these great adjustments and a different game plan and actually execute. But it would be really, really nice to see it because you have half a game, right?
Yep.
I mean, you have the Vikings game this year against Green Bay. You go into the half and you're up 28-7, right? And that half can win you the game, but when it's an uphill battle all the way back, it's still possible, but you're just making it harder for yourself and your team when you're not trying to at least bite at that lead, because games can be won and lost in halves, but at the same time, it's like, why would you want to put yourself in that situation where you're just like clawing back instead of, it's only, 2, maybe 3 possessions. It's still within reach, but why I wouldn't even want to put that to chance.
Yeah.
So I just would hope in the future, like, credit to their adjustments. It was great, but I would love to see more in-game adjustments where maybe it's a quarter, right? Like, even if it's middle of the second, it's like, okay, maybe we should, instead of using Darius, maybe we should, or use Darius on offense to like produce. Why don't we use him as a decoy? Why don't we disguise him? We're bringing pressure away from other playmakers on our team. So like the second half, when you're doing all the bootlegs and all the linebackers are flying over to Darius, it's like, great, now you're leaving the other half of the field wide open. Like, those decisions could have been made earlier.
I agree. I wonder if part of that is just coaching college kids, right? I think it's really hard for college kids to make like a major adjustment to the plans that you've built all week in a quarter or two. And I think halftime's like a much easier format to distill down. Hey, we're doing this right now. Now we're going to do this. We're going to do this instead of this. And I would like to see them happen earlier too. I think that's probably my big criticism for the offense for this game is adjust sooner, like you said, Griff. But I think that's also harder to do with college athletes, like or not. And on defense, I think they did do that. And I think that's why they kind of stopped the bleeding a little bit, because UCLA really only scored, 1 touchdown in the first half on a nice deep ball. And I think after that they kind of decided we're going to play too high. We're going to have to get pressure with our front four, and we're going to blitz a little bit, but we're going to run more. I think they ran more games up front, more twists, more stunts as the quarters went on. They tried to get more pressure with movement than math. And so I think the defense was kind of adjusting a little bit because I think it's just call different plays, But I think for the offense, it might be a little harder to shift off your game plan and a half. And this probably just speaks to the stubborn nature of the head coach that we know and love, because to me, that's what it really looked like.
I mean, so you saying it's harder to teach college kids, but I look at it as we're preparing these guys for the NFL. Like, they're going to make adjustments all the time. Like, they might as well learn it now and get acclimated to those changes, because we know that nothing ever goes to plan and you need to be flexible. So, but yes.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. And I think they tried some small stuff in the second quarter and other drives. I think they tried mixing in Marcus Major a little bit more in the first half, trying to see, how are they attacking him differently. I think he was productive. And I would have liked to have seen them go to the play action boot game that you're talking about earlier. I've kind of been wanting to see more of that all year. I just think that works for them, and I don't know why they seem so averse to it. I think the problem is the way they were being attacked was with these linebackers flying down, and they kind of force you into running inside zone blocking schemes again to make sure you're shoring up your protections on the inside of the tackles. Whereas if you try and run the ball outside against those linebacker type blitzes, they're going to come flying through those gaps, and you're cooked. So it's kind of it's a great move by them to kind of understand, hey, the Gophers have had more success running the ball mid-outside zone. If we attack them in this way, we'll be forcing them to also run the ball in a way that they're not good at. And so I think, I think they tried to do that, but they were kind of handcuffed because of the sound philosophy from UCLA on defense. And I think they deserve some credit for that.
I had a thought and I completely just lost it. But
proud of you, bud.
Oh, I remember. So even if we don't make adjustments, right? Like, I think the Michigan game is a great example of how much better this team plays under a little bit of pressure, right? Where like we have the defense on the edge, on their heels. They're always thinking. So it's like maybe we still have the same offensive philosophy and we're not making adjustments until halftime, and it's the second quarter, right? But if we get up to the line faster and play with more urgency, that like it doesn't give the defense time to set, and then it forces them to call timeouts that they can't use later on. But again, stubborn nature. I just really would like to see them play at more up-tempo games instead of letting everyone sit.
Are you saying that this team plays better football when they play a more aggressive style of offense?
I am.
Wow. I'm shocked personally. I personally prefer Darius Taylor to get 17 carries for 27 yards and just run into a wall of bodies over and over and over again.
Just to eat clock.
God, the time of possession thing, I'll never understand it. It matters a little bit, but not as much as PJ I thinks it does. So I don't know. I'm with you, Griff. I think this team they look like a completely different team when they play not just with tempo, but when they play with urgency and when they attack. Does that make sense? Like,
yes.
When this team comes out and they are attacking and they need to score, they look really good. When this team is in what most people would refer to as a positive game script, it looks like they are just trying to get out of there. And I don't like that. And I don't think it works well for them either. And I think that's a great point, Griff. When this team is attacking, they're so much better.
Which has been opposite compared. Like I think for us, we've just been used to like what PJ's style of game script, right? Which is eat the clock, run the ball, pass if needed. But I think this version, I think he has to get away from himself and keep doing that because, as you guys mentioned, if we do this more, we probably would have won some more games instead of being at 4-3 right now.
I mean, possibly, right? But I think this game specifically, they got to get off their run game plan. I think earlier. I think it was just not working, and they did. They ended up throwing the ball 37 times in this game, and I think that really matters. They ended up
threw the ball a lot late in the game.
Oh yeah, when the money was down, when it was money time, Max Brosmer, that's who it was. I almost picked him for Necton.
Yeah,
but I wanted to shout out.
I wanted to make a mention of him in the Necton segment, and that it just didn't come to fruition. But yeah, the second half from Max Brosmer, just
Beautiful,
unbelievable play.
I believe he was 5 for 7 for like 70-ish yards on that last drive.
He when it mattered, Max Brosmer was cool, calm, and collected in the pocket, and just played quality football.
I mean,
Charge
him and Daniel
complete.
Jackson took over the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and we haven't seen that quarterback play, that level of quarterback play in a while.
Yeah, I mean, he was good. He was efficient. I mean, not really pushing the ball down the field, but I think that was an active choice that UCLA made, was to take those away. He did a good job, I think, of taking what was underneath and what was being given to him. I think he's very good at that. It's a good. He sees the field well.
He certainly does.
And I think it was the Gophers Twitter account that shared like his stats in the fourth quarter. These last two games was like high completion percentage, most yards he's thrown like that entire game, right? And then game winning drives, like ice cold stones.
Yeah,
leading the team.
Second half stats: 16 for 21, 135 yards, 2 touchdowns, 100% on third down, 6 for 6, 2 touchdowns.
I like those numbers.
I mean, that's clutch, right? Like that's 5 for 7, 52 yards, and a touchdown on the last drive.
It's definitionally clutch.
Yeah, I mean, he was awesome. Like, not really much more to say about him. I think we can, move to the second half here.
Yeah, let's go ahead. So Gophers scored 14 points unanswered in the third quarter. A touchdown pass from Max Brosman to Elijah Spencer, which was a beautiful play. Elijah was open on that. And then the second one, after the Corey Parrish interception, Darius Taylor ran in for 2 yards. Then a great play by UCLA. They score a touchdown in the fourth quarter. Ethan Garbers to Michael Sturdivant for a 42-yard pass.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was a very nice throw. And then the last play to seal the game away was Max Brosman to Darius Taylor for a 4-yard catch touchdown. With the clock stopped at 27 seconds left on the clock. And I do want to caveat, PJ actually used his timeouts properly on the last was it 4 minutes ish?
Oh yeah, I think his timeout usage has been much better this year. For all the flack we like to throw at him for like just the conservative nature that he has when it comes to game script, his game management and I think timeouts have been second half only. Like generally, I don't think you can really fault college coaches for their timeouts in the first half, kind of at all, just because it's so weird the way the games work out in the first half of these games. And the second half, though, is I think really when your timeout usage can be criticized. I think PJ's been way better this year.
I mean, he takes 3 timeouts because we essentially, our defense did a great job of keeping. So essentially, what happened was, so the last 3-ish drives, the entire game. First of 3 here is the Gophers are trying to march down the field. We have to punt the ball back. We give it back to UCLA.
That was a decision. That was,
Yeah.
we can talk about that one.
But we'll get to that. But we punted, right? UCLA gets the ball back, but we pin them behind the 20. Our defense does what we need to do, and they didn't get a first down. I think it was like,
You pinned them behind the 20, but you're punting from inside the 50.
yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, but moving on from that, so defense does a great job. They get the stop. Like I think they were 1 yard. Like UCLA was 1 yard short of converting the first down. Next is they punt it. The Gophers get the ball back with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock.
Shout out Devin Eastern in the second half for just completely blowing up UCLA's run game constantly,
which was amazing. So with that, with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock, we marched down 1 minute and 53 seconds to make that touchdown. And that was like great plays. Like I think there was a chunk play to Jamison Gears. I think he was max. Like again, that same pass that he missed during the first drive.
Yep.
He made that catch and I think was close to a first down. Then Daniel Jackson had actually a big play where he was open like 20 yards down and the guys were like at least 2 to 3 yards off him and caught it, went out of bounds. And then Lemecki converting that 3rd and 2.
Oh, God.
Which I thought wasn't going to happen, but...
We need to talk about this team throwing short of the sticks on 3rd down the entire game.
Yeah, it's...
Because, like I said, Greg Harbaugh, I thought he did a really good job adjusting. I think that with the way your offensive line has been playing, going to screens in these high leverage 3rd downs, not really what I want to be doing. A lot of missed blocks, a lot of missed assignments on these kickouts and runouts for these offensive linemen. Like the Lemecki play is probably a touchdown if Greg Johnson gets a hand on literally anybody. But he just misses, and Lemecki's got to work to get the first down, which shout out you for doing it. All game, I felt like we were throwing short of the sticks on 3rd down, and I just don't get it. I don't understand.
I mean, it's been happening throughout the season. Like, you can't do that against defenses. Like, again, I know UCLA, they're trying to get a win. They're 1-5. They're trying to get a win, right? They're finding their tooth and nail. But if you look at games like
they've played like a murderer's row.
They did
to start too. So.
But if you look at games like against Michigan, I'll even add USC on some occasions, Iowa and North Carolina, where you can't do that. Throw behind the sticks.
You can't do that against this team either. Not in these situations.
Yeah, like it works when you have the guys that are up there for the protection and know their assignments, but this year has not been the case.
No.
And
it's interesting to me. Their 3rd down plays generally look like some sort of like route for there's like 1 or 2 routes to get the first down. Usually 1 route at the sticks, a shot route, and then like a screen underneath route is kind of what their 3rd down plays have looked like a lot this year. And I think part of the problem is that they're constantly at 3rd and long. I think their average distance on 3rd down this game was like over 6 yards. It was like 6.4 yards or something like that. And they understand, I think, that their protection is not consistently good right now. And on these 3rd down plays, they're leaving in either a tight end or a running back, basically a skill guy somewhere to protect as well. And I think that's part of the issue is because you have 1 less route out there because you're holding a guy in to protect. And I think that's kind of impacting the play design to a degree that, like, this is all trickle down, right? because you can't stay ahead of the sticks on first and second down, right? Because now you're on third and long. You know you have protection issues. You have to keep someone in to protect. So you have one less guy out there running a route, and they're probably +1 then in pass defense, right?
I mean, the one example that comes to mind for me was, I think it was the 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. It was one of those short of the sticks to Daniel Jackson, and that linebacker was right there.
Yeah.
When he turned around to go upfield, like,
yep.
That was frustrating. And again, back to the play that I was talking about, I thought Lemecki was get tackled like behind the line, in that moment, but he fought tooth and nail.
I think they go for it on 4th down.
Oh, I think they would too in that scenario if they were short.
No, you can't kick. The way with Dragan right now, you can't kick. You just can't do it. And I don't know if you remember the shot, if you were watching the game on the broadcast copy. They go to line up for this 3rd and 2, right? And they've got a pass play called, which in hindsight is even funnier because PJ is just crouched in his little catcher stance that he likes to be in when he gets nervous.
Nervous and stressed out.
And he's just looking down at the ground, playing with the grass on the sideline. Just like, take me away from here. I want to be somewhere else right now. I'm on the beach. I'm in the field. I'm hanging out, you know? Like, he looked so tense. And, like, I was like, oh, they've definitely got a pass play called here on 3rd and 2 because he looks tense. And then they throw it behind the sticks. They throw it behind the line of scrimmage on that play. And it's a 4-yard completion, technically, on 3rd and 2 that barely gets across the line. So, I don't know. It's just so funny because, like, you could see it all playing out for them. Like, you could see just seeing that body language from PJ for me was like, they know that this is the game right here. They know that they have to get it on this play or the next play. And when you throw a screen like that, right, because they run Darius Taylor out on a fake, everybody goes that way. And then they turn around and hit Lemecki for the first down. And it's a gutsy call, but it takes away their game plan, which was good, and it works out because it's a really nice call and great effort by Lemecki. But I think they knew it was put up or shut up time.
Yeah. And then in the end, great, like, their defense, which had been like trying to take Darius out as a factor, like make him stay for protection, but that moment they didn't put anyone on a blitz. It was a 4-man rush. Darius gets out. Max sees it. Bloop. Darius is.
You know why that happens though? Because we've been talking, right? We've been talking this whole podcast about. This is the DT passing touchdown you're talking about, right?
Yep.
We've been talking this whole time about how their linebackers were just running at Darius all game, right? This is the one play where they didn't do that. And it's because you spent the entire drive throwing the ball and threatening them with a pass, so they did not feel comfortable vacating the middle of the field in the low red zone like that. Because if they pull a linebacker down and you've got a guy running a drag right behind him, that's an easy touchdown. So they keep the linebackers home. Darius sees it, leaks out, easy score. Like that is exactly what you want. It comes from a sequence of really good play calling, understanding your opponent's game plan and playing off of it. That was just so good.
Yeah, and put us up 21-17, 27 seconds left, and all the Divas need to do is now let him into the end zone, and they did, and Mr. Coy Parrish with the game-sealing pick.
Can of corn.
Yep. But yeah, that's, again, I'm happy that we got the win, but I think the bye does come at a great time.
But I can't live like this? Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, I can't live like this.
Because that's how I feel.
Honestly, I'm kind of lying to myself if I have been living this way with living as a Minnesota sports fan. But, no, but guys, coming up here, we have
the Vikings record right now?
5-0.
Viking? Oh, okay, just checking.
I know. No, I'm just talking in general, Soup, not just this season, but
Okay.
in general. But going into this now, like I think Soup, you mentioned earlier, our guys are hurt.
Need this one, yeah.
We need this. Like I think the bye has come at a great time.
In the words of PJ, never seen a bye I wasn't happy to see.
Yep. So hopefully get our guys healthy. Off week this week, and then coming back after that is Maryland. So happy for that. But other than that, anything else do you guys want to touch on that you saw from this game?
Wyatt, do you want to talk about your baby?
Do I want to talk about special teams?
Probably not, but I mean we should.
I was gonna say, is there really all that much to talk about besides they did the same shit they always do?
So we're officially like not playing to kick field goals, right?
Yeah.
You would hope so.
I mean, you can't. You can't.
Yeah.
PJ's going to. Let's be clear. PJ's going to. One, there is a.
He
the
just
positive
didn't
element.
though. He just
Well-
didn't. Like the game that just happened, they played for touchdowns. Like that just happened.
True. And at the end of the USC game, when we all thought it was going to be a field goal, he played for a touchdown in a big way. So maybe he is turning a new leaf here. And there's a positive element to letting them go out, trot out, and kick the field goal. Because you want to continue to show faith in your guy, but
I mean, not when he's missing field goals like this. I think.
when he's missing field goals at the clip that he's missing field goals this season,
I mean,
If
You
he
gotta
was just
start-
if he was just a punter who couldn't kick the ball more than 40 yards, he'd be fine.
yeah,
There's no repercussions for that, apparently.
when Mark Crawford has been doing his job enough to keep him past behind the 20, right? That's
something about
right.
the fact that Mark Crawford is still out on the field tells me that somehow in all this time with Mark Crawford on the field, PJ has not been able to find anybody who can punt the ball better.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I
Which-
don't understand.
Which is it's nonsense. There's no way that should be the truth. But why would you continue to trot out a guy who can't do it well if you have another?
There's
Like,
gotta
it's
be some washed up guy in Pike or SAE who punted in high school who is younger and maybe can get better. There's just no way that Mark Crawford is the best punter at this school.
Didn't some team in Texas do that with kicker at one point? Just trot out some guy from a frat who won
I'm sure it's happened.
$200 kicking the football at halftime once.
I'm sure that's probably happened at some point.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But
Why aren't we looking at these people who are doing punt, pass, kick and kicking the ball as well as Mark Crawford?
Have you seen the people who they have do punt, pass, kick?
To be fair, I've not been to a game this year,
I
so
was about to
They're
say,
terrible.
yeah, they're terrible, man.
have they been terrible this season?
They're awful.
Get the guy that just kicked the field goal for Pat McAfee and Nick Saban.
Yeah, do
Hey.
that. Sure.
No, Wyatt.
No. We need a punter.
No, Wyatt.
Hey, kick ball far.
This was my rant a few pods ago, where I feel like PJ can't seem to find the guy to punt better than Mark Crawford. And I don't
And
this
this is the wrong game to really be going in on Mark Crawford.
yeah.
Is it?
It again, he was fine.
Yeah, I was like, he was
I don't think he
fine.
actively lost you a game.
His only good punts come from situations where they probably shouldn't be punting.
That is true, but if we're just purely looking at just punting only, I'm not too mad at Mark Crawford at that. It's just
It's this is the game where if you're looking at the special teams, you don't like necessarily what Mark Crawford put out there, but like he's not problem one.
No. But there's no way
Problem,
you can't find
yeah.
somebody better than this.
Has PJ not tried?
I don't think so.
That's got to be the answer, right? Like they're just not trying to replace him. Do they feel bad for him because he's like
No.
38 and can't get out of college?
I think he's like super average, and they're like, think of the last recruiting cycles. We got to lock down Coy Parrish. We got to lock down Drake Lindsay. We got to lock down Jackson Pollock. You know what I mean? Like,
And they're just forgetting to throw some like time at the punter.
I think they're like, you know what? We have a punter who is 40 yards with a bullet. Whatever. Like, it is what it is.
But do you think, though, with the new special teams coordinator we have, do you think he flips the script a little bit for the upcoming recruiting class? Because right now, Mark Crawford's set to graduate this year?
He can't play forever.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, well, eventually you have to find someone to replace Mark Crawford.
Because, like,
so like eventually it'll end.
like, this is part of my rant a few pods ago. Like, if PJ was willing to go out of his way to get a 2-star recruit who was the best long snapper in the country, surely he can't do the same to find a punter and a kicker, right? And he hasn't. So, but
again, like of the games where like of the games to go in on Mark Crawford, this is the one where there's a more obvious point of concern on special teams, and it's what the hell is going on with Dragan Kesic?
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong?
Is it
this didn't happen last year?
Is it a technique thing, or does he have the yips, like he's in his own head?
So Derek Burns said this on Gopher Gridiron's podcast, and I think it's a really great point, so I'll bring it here, is that he thinks it's a good thing, at least, that the misses are all the same. They're all to the right, right? And it's not like he's shanking it to the right. He's missing it just a little bit to the right every time. And he said, the only thing you really want from your kickers is consistency. And even though it's a bad consistency right now, it's a correctable consistency because it's the same thing, right? So I think that, hopefully you just fix it over the bye week since you have some time to really dig into your technique here. And I hopefully figure it out. But I think the bye week, I think Dragan's definitely somebody who is ecstatic to have it right now.
Desperately needs it, yeah. He's been just he's basically 50-50 right now.
No, he is, I think, right? Like
he's hit 53, 54%.
He was like 85, 86 last year.
And it's sad too because he won Big Ten Kicker of the Year last year too.
And let's be clear, there's 3 of these misses are from 50 plus.
Yeah,
which
if you hasn't been put in the best spot either. I think like those misses are more on PJ.
Yeah,
it's just like, why are you asking this college kid to kick a 54, 55 yarder?
But then it does hurt when like he, as you mentioned, guys, that he missed to the right a little on, was it in North Carolina with the game-winning field goal?
Yep.
For that, he missed the one recently with UCLA in the first quarter, and there's probably more than I'm probably blanking on it. But those are the 2 examples that I think of that like, ugh.
The other one in the UNC game,
he misses one from 50 plus at Michigan.
Yep.
And that's a game-tying field goal. The game would have been tied at the end of the game if he makes that.
Yeah.
Like, there's probably...
I mean, if you think about it, each of his kicks, if you just add those 3 points in, North Carolina, they win. Michigan, they at least tie. Right?
Yeah, they take it to overtime at the very least.
this game, if you take away the Gophers' last touchdown and give them the missed field goal, tie game, right? So, like, high leverage kicks, right?
For sure, yeah.
So,
Some like misses in big spots that perhaps lead us to exaggerate the issue that he's having, especially
yeah,
when they're coming from 50 plus.
I mean,
But when PJ plays this style of football, every kick that your kicker has is going to be big because
yep,
you're
Yeah.
playing close all the time.
yep. Thank you, Griffin.
That's the other side of the coin
Yep.
is that
Wouldn't it be nice to trot him out for a field goal while you've got like a 10, 14-point lead already? Imagine that.
That would feel so nice.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
that would. And do you think it changes his mentality and his approach?
It shouldn't, but
Do you
anybody
think it
who's...
affects his ability to hit that kick?
I mean, I think he would tell you no, but I think anybody who is human understands that you just feel stuff differently in those moments.
Yeah,
So,
pressure is real.
yeah. So I don't know. I would at least like to see it, right? Like, I don't think, like, I'm not like, oh, he's bad. I'm like, something's up. He's either got the yips or something in his technique is causing him to pull to. He's a lefty, so he's pulling it a little bit. So hopefully they iron that out, and he's fine after the bye. But I don't know. We'll
Let's
see.
put him in situations that are, better for him as well.
Better, and if he misses, it's not the end of the world. Right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Special teams continues to be an enigma. Maybe while they're figuring out what's going on with Dragon, they can also figure out how to block a return at all.
Pretty fucking please, because I am tired of seeing Corey Parrish get, like, shellacked right when he catches the ball.
Parrish went 3 returns for 4 yards this game. Is that right?
You force UCLA to punt towards the end of the game on that 4th and short in their own territory, right?
Yeah.
And they go to punt the ball back to Coy. You would love a big return here, right? You would love a punt block here, right? Like, go after the ball. But guess what you get? You get punt safe because it's like 4th and 2, 4th and 3 from the 15 or whatever it was, right? And what is it? I gotta look. So silly. They punt it from like the 12 or the 7. Is that what that is? The 7? Yeah. 4th and 1 from their own 12-yard line. It looks like they punt. 52-yard punt. Which, like, to me, you don't want to try and block that ball. They play punt safe because it's 4th and 1, and it's what if they go for it? Okay, that would be bad, but I don't think they're going for it in this field position with the lead still.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're going to punt the ball back to you and make you look good on offense like you have not all game. And they play punt safe. And they don't even, which means you're not blocking anyone, right? It just means you're not blocking anybody because you're just sitting your guys watching for the fake. And it's just like the unwillingness to, like, try and draw up a big return or big play, or are they just that? Is their depth on special teams just that bad? Because even on kickoff, it's bad. Like, they just don't block anybody in the return game. It's infuriating.
To caveat off that too, Soup, I feel like the more we don't block well, or block at all, or don't block, I think this vengeance is going to bite our returns in the ass and hurt them, because there was one play that I still remember.
Boy's going to get killed. That's what's going to happen.
Because
he's not fair catching the ball. I don't know if you guys have picked up on this.
Yeah, he's not fair catching. But the one that drew to me was he got hit by a UCLA special teamer, one of the gunners. I think that guy got ejected for targeting.
Yeah.
And I was like, the guy went after, again, at that point, Coy is like, he's looking up. Like, you look at his face mask and it's like,
I think they picked that one up.
did they?
Or they picked up the next one because they threw a targeting flag like the next play.
Yeah.
Because someone hit Daniel Jackson in the head and they picked that one up.
Correct.
I think is what it was.
But like, Coy did not fair catch that. He is going to try to make something happen.
Oh my god.
And he just takes a massive hit, and it took a little bit for him to get up. Like, his teammates were like picking him up. I'm like, that's not what I want to see. Like, I know we mentioned he hasn't been doing well as a returner, like Quinton Redding, but the poor guy got hurt on the return, where his gunners didn't block at all.
I know they just need to block. I mean, Coy has had maybe I can think of 2 returns that were like somewhat blocked. One of them goes for 60. And one of them goes for 20, and a shoestring tackle saves a touchdown. Like, if you block for him, he's going to do something. But I just don't understand what it is that they can't block on special teams.
And I just hope it doesn't, like, I don't want to spread it or like have that juju, but I hope he doesn't get hurt from that. Because
they're screaming at him this week. Fair catch the ball, dude.
yeah.
We're gonna tell you if we have punt safe, fair catch the ball, right? If we have punt block, even fair catch the ball.
Yeah.
It was nice though, while we're on Coy though, to see. I think the first drive on defense, Coleman Bryson was out there, and immediately they run a safety blitz, and he is late firing on the blitz, runs right into a lineman, goes nowhere. Immediately after that, Coy Parrish is in the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing starter snaps now. I would not be surprised after the bye to just see him be the free safety.
Man, we like to see that.
But it's tough because you got guys. Like, you can rotate now.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got at least 3 guys at safety right now. Gooseby, I think, is playing much better. And then Kerry Brown, hopefully, when he gets healthy. And then Darius Green and Coy Parrish, I think, are all viable players. So you're deep at safety.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Coy is just making too many plays to not be on the field.
I mean, he's your playmaker.
Yep.
But all right. Anything else, guys?
Fuck Ohio State.
Yeah, I missed the beginning of the second half of the Gopher game. Like, I missed the touchdown drive because I was watching the end of that Ohio State-Oregon game.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to get into that?
First, I want to get into on how YouTube TV, you can build a multi-view, which is great, but you can only build a multi-view of certain games. Like, I couldn't have the Gophers and the Ohio State-Oregon game on in the same one.
Oh, no, it's dumb. Like, it's that, and then I
don't get it. I don't understand.
I'm using Fubo right now, and because I think the Minnesota UCLA game was going longer than the original like time slot that they have it for, it shifted me to a different game on Fubo side. Like, I don't know what the hell is going up. Like, I know what you mean, Sue. I used to have YouTube TV, and I couldn't do multi-view like that for certain games last year and the year before. So I have no idea what's going on, but, like, YouTube TV is kind of shitty right now, and Fubo just, like, kicked me off partway through the game because it went over, like, the 3.5 hour block that they had set in the stream, right? So
hilarious.
I don't know. It's stupid.
It's so bad. I don't understand. Like, I don't get it.
And we're paying them all this money, and they have all this money coming in already. I'm like, oh, why can't you just have better? Just be.
Why would we spend money on improving our platform when you pigs are just gonna pay for it anyway?
Yeah.
It's like like Sunday NFL Sunday tickets, like a bazillion dollars. Like. Can you imagine if they had like even the baseball has this? the MLB TV has this where you can pay and just watch one team. You can just pick one team and see all the games. But no.
At this point, it's just cheaper to buy another cheap TV and then stream East them all.
Yar, matey.
Honestly. But all right. Can someone want to explain to me what's this thing about Oregon taking a 12-man delay a game penalty?
I don't believe it. I don't buy it for a second. I don't believe Dan Lanning at all.
Something is like fishy there. I don't know the rule well enough to actually assess what happened.
So let's have the story right. So they had a 12-man penalty on the field, and their head coach is saying they did it on purpose. But to what you're saying, Soup, is not true.
I just don't think so, because it's a dead ball. It's a dead ball foul. And it's like, I think about it like offsides for the defense, where they throw the flag and they let the play out, and then they decide whether or not they want to take it, right? So I always thought you get the time back, right? Like, because they're saying he did it that way to waste time. And I always thought that it's a replay of the down if you accept the penalty, which means the time gets put back on the clock. So to me, the officials lose it. The officials are the ones who mess it up. Because sure, he could say that they were trying to get a 12-man penalty on purpose. That's like, people have done that. Mike Vrabel did that in, I believe it was 2020, when he was head coach of the Tennessee Titans, to try and save time.
I thought wasn't that against, he was out Belichicking Bill Belichick on special teams that game? Yeah.
So I don't know. I always thought it was a dead ball, put the time back on the clock, replay the down thing. But I don't know. I guess not.
And there's a lot more out there about it now. The NCAA is allegedly investigating, which means maybe there's a loophole there that does do this.
Yeah.
Well, we'll probably see then in the coming days and weeks or months.
But it's okay, because the Ohio State quarterback just lost his mind and slid. So
yeah, that was funny.
Did the Dak Prescott?
Yeah, dude, just launch the ball, just throw it. Like, what are you running for? The best is the screenshot of him sliding and his teammate right next to him with his hands on his head.
Like, what the hell are you doing, man? But hey, down goes Ohio State. All right, anything else from college football or even NFL?
I mean, it's a big day in NFL world, but
yeah,
the second
Mark,
we can, discuss how Aaron Rodgers is actually running the Jets.
Oh yeah.
Imagine having your damn near crippled quarterback on the last leg of his NFL career run your entire team. That's going to look completely different in a year or two.
And he's also not even that good anymore.
That too.
And then he just passes blame off on other people.
Well, that's not new for him.
I know. It's just funny. He could at least say, we were not on the same page, instead of saying, hey, you should have ran your route better because you ran it wrong.
At least it's a step up from where former Packer quarterbacks usually end up, which is defrauding the government and welfare.
Oof.
Woof.
Hold on, we haven't
went
given
there.
him time to get out there and defraud the government.
But
Let's not. We'll see in 10 years if that ages poorly as a comment.
Yeah.
oh, but
Maybe
also
after a few Levi's jeans commercials, his brain will really turn over.
but also we haven't seen him come to the Vikings to be our starting quarterback. So
Thank God. Oh,
I
God.
hope it doesn't happen because I hate his
Don't
guts.
don't put that evil on me.
Hey, why? It's okay. We got Sammy Darnold and JJ, Zen McCarthy, so we're fine. It's gonna be fine.
Don't forget about Cam Akers, baby. He is so back.
But all right, let's end it here, boys. I didn't expect this episode to go longer just to recap UCLA, but here we are. So everyone, thank you so much for watching and listening to OPA Podcast episode 88 for the recap of our comeback win against UCLA. So again, this week we are on bye, so go ahead, enjoy it. But other than that, we'll see you guys next week to preview our homecoming game versus Maryland. So we'll see you then. So I'm one of your hosts, Jason O, along with Sue.
Oh, God. The bye week? Bless?
Wyatt.
Oh.
And Griffin.
Oh.
And we'll see you guys next time, and happy bye.